Today we're going to attempt to replace the battery in a, this is like a first generation Philips Bodygroom. It uses a nickel metal hydride battery. Now I've already tore this apart once to see what kind of battery it took. So let's take it apart again. Now all you need to do is pull off the side panels here. And then there are a few clips holding the rest of it together. When I took it apart the first time, I actually accidentally broke some of the clips, so I'm not too concerned about making sure that I don't break any more. But like I said, just snaps apart. The whole thing is encased in a waterproof case like this. Just has the one button and the battery charging terminals, and then where the motor comes out. All you have to do is pull the clips apart. Now the problem I had when trying to find a replacement battery was it used this odd, almost coin cell looking battery. They are a Varta V600HR. Let me look at what I am using instead of that. I believe when I looked it up it was 2.4 volt. I think it was like 600 milliamp hours. Now, I could actually find this, but it was like $30 without shipping, and the shipping had to come from like Europe, so that wasn't going to work. Instead, I found this. It's actually for a cell phone. It's a 2.4 volt, 400 milliamp hours. Now it's less capacity. It's a fairly similar footprint though. It's a little bit smaller height-wise, just barely. But it should, I haven't tested it, it should fit within the waterproof case. That's what I was trying to ensure. I probably could have maybe gotten something slightly bigger and then just done away with the waterproof case. I don't really use this in the shower or anything, so I'm not worried about it being waterproof, but I thought, hey, I might as well try to keep it waterproof if at all possible. What was happening with this is you would put it on and it would charge for hours and hours and hours, and as soon as the light would go off saying it was done charging, it would be dead in like 10 minutes, whether you used it or not. So let's just desolder these and slap this in there, and then we'll try it out and see if it'll charge and not blow up. And the red wire was the positive, so it would go on that end. And one would assume the red wire would be positive on this as well, but to be on the safe side, let's double check. Yep, 2.57 volts. So the red wire is the positive. Just to be on the safe side. I've heard of certain companies swapping that because they want to be cute and looks okay. We'll reinsert this. And it works. That should be fine. Hopefully. Now, we'll see if this will charge. I'm getting a green light on the charging port stating it'll charge, stating that it's charging, and we'll just see if these heat up excessively. I wasn't sure how this actually charged the battery. I assumed it was just doing like a constant current, but I wasn't sure. The manual states that a full charge time is 8 hours, I believe it says. But when I first put this battery in here, it actually has 200 milliamp hours less capacity than the Varta V600HRs, which was the original battery that was in the Bodygroom. I just hooked up some wires to let it charge until it would turn off, and I actually did it 3 times. The first time I think I let it run for about 8 hours exactly, and then I had somewhere to go, and I didn't want to leave it sit running, charging while I was out, so I stopped charging it. The second time I let it run for like 8 hours and like 15 minutes or so, and again I had somewhere to be, so I ended up stopping the charging again. Finally, I determined that it's about 8 hours and like 25 minutes, 8 hours and 8.5 hours, somewhere in that neighborhood, that it actually charges. So I'm assuming it is just doing a constant current. The battery pack will get to 2.9 volts when fully charged. Well, while it's charging, it'll rise to about 2.9 volts and then sit there. I just let it sit running like this, which it didn't have the like razor blade attached to it or anything, so it probably didn't have as much load on the motor or anything like that, so that might have been why it was able to run for like an hour and still keep going, where the manual states that it should only get like 50 minutes of running time on a 600 milliamp hour battery. But I did like an hour or so letting it run like that, and it only dropped down to like it was maybe getting like 2.35 volts, but again, it might have just been not having it together to where it was moving the razor blade, putting more of a load on the motor. I just wanted to do one more thing before I put it back together. I also took apart the part that sits on the motor. This piece goes in here, and that's what actually moves the razor blade back and forth. So I took that apart and cleaned it, and I'm going to put a little bit, re-lube that just to make it work a little bit more effectively, maybe. But I wanted to check the amps that this actually charges at, just to see. Looked up the data sheets, on the Varta VR or V600HRs, and I believe, you know, it was just like any other nickel metal hydride battery. I think it had base charging, constant current as would be 60 milliamps. The 2/3 AAAs that these battery sizes are, I believe they have like 40 milliamps. So even if it's just putting out, you know, if it's putting out 60 milliamps or 100 milliamps, you know, it's not, I don't think it's going to hurt this battery any. It may lessen the charging cycles, but on eBay you can buy, or Amazon really, you can buy these 2/3 AAA dual cell nickel metal hydride batteries. They're made for cordless telephones, but I got 2 of them for like $5 shipped. So even if it only lasts me a year before the charging cycles run out, which I doubt, I mean, I can almost guarantee it'll last longer. But even if it didn't last very long, it's not that expensive. It's a quick fix. So let's see what the charging current is on here. So I just spent like, I don't know, a half an hour trying to measure the current on this stupid thing. Could not get it to work. I was thinking that I was just doing it wrong, even though I just couldn't understand why it wasn't working. So then I thought, I wonder if there's something wrong with my multimeter. So I took the screws out and took the fuse out, as you can see down there, and apparently my fuse is blown. I don't know if I accidentally did this somehow when I first got it. I have no idea how this happened. I have no idea. But yeah, I have no continuity over the fuse, so my fuse is blown. But yeah, so that's probably why I can't measure the current on here. I would assume, though, given that the one inside of it is a 600 milliamp hour, and it's charged for 8 hours, so it would be a little bit greater than like 1C, so, or 0.1C. So maybe like 80, which would be double the 0.1C charging rate for this little battery here. But yeah, I won't know until I can get a replacement fuse for my multimeter, which I'm sure I'll add that on my list of things to get. But and now I'm just gonna put this all back together and call it a night. Okay, now to lubricate the this part, I am just going to use this Super Lube multi-purpose synthetic grease with Syncolon, which is basically, I think it's Teflon. I bought this to primarily use in like VCRs and stuff like that, but I'll just use a little bit of this inside of here to lubricate the little shaft on the motor that moves this side to side. And it should be more than enough. That. And this part that. You just have to line up. There's a couple little plastic protrusions on the top here that you have to line up. Ensure that the little fingers on the bottom are contacting the contacts for the charging terminals. Check it. Works good. Now we have the top half of the waterproof casing. I shortened the wires here because they were really long, and trying to shove this inside, it was just a little bit too much. I also, if you can see on this white one, in the corners down here, there are little rounded edges that matched the original battery because it was an oval shape. They were also on this blue top piece. They came out like here and here. I actually got just a little file and filed those down just to give me a little bit more room, because this battery pack just would not fit in here otherwise. Just have to stick the battery pack in, kind of line things up a little bit. It's a little tricky getting this fit in here, but it works a lot better now that I took the extra wire off. Works great. Like I said, I wasn't able to test the charging current. If anybody cares, if anybody watches this video, if anybody cares, you can leave a message and leave a comment, and once I fix my, assuming that is the problem, the fuse is why I can't measure a current with that multimeter, feel free to leave a message, a comment, and once I fix that, I'll pull this apart again and measure that charging current. It just goes together the opposite of how it came apart, you know. Just the clips, snap, snap, snap. Where is my clip? Boom. Little silver side pieces go on. So, and there you go. So, replace the battery on this. It's charging right now. You can't see it. The charging light's on the bottom, on the wall mains brick. But easy, quick fix for less than $3 for batteries. Now this will last for probably another couple years, especially probably if I don't leave it sit in the cradle all day. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.